Every single one of us goes through pain. It might come in different forms, but it is something no one can escape. For some, it is the loss of a loved one. For others, it is rejection, betrayal, financial struggles, or the quiet emptiness of feeling left behind. And in those moments, we often ask ourselves, why me? Why do I have to go through this? What did I do to deserve this? The truth is, pain is not something we choose, but it is something that chooses us. And the first step toward transforming it is recognizing its reality. If we spend our lives denying that pain exists, hiding from it, or pretending it does not hurt, then we rob ourselves of the opportunity to learn what it is trying to teach us. Pain is not a sign of weakness. In fact, it is often a signal that we are alive, that our hearts still care, that our dreams still matter. To feel deeply is proof that you are still connected to life. And while we live in a world where people try to mask their pain, cover it with distractions, or silence it with noise, the brave ones are those who acknowledge it. The strong are not those who never cry or never break, but those who are honest enough to say, yes, I am hurting, but I will not let this hurt define me. When you recognize pain, you also start to realize that it is universal. You are not the only one walking this path. Somewhere, someone else is fighting a battle just as hard, maybe harder. This recognition does two things. It humbles you and it connects you. It reminds you that no matter how isolated you feel, you are never truly alone. And it forces you to accept that pain is part of the human journey. Nobody gets a free pass. Even the most successful people you admire, the ones who look like they have it all together, they too have scars. They too have cried at night when no one was watching. The mistake many people make is to see pain as a punishment. They think life is against them, or fate has singled them out. But what if pain is not punishment but preparation? What if it is not meant to break you but to build you? That shift in perspective begins only when you stop denying your pain and start recognizing it for what it really is. You can never heal what you refuse to feel, and you can never grow from what you keep pretending does not exist. There is power in acceptance, not in accepting defeat, but in accepting reality. When you say to yourself, yes, this is hard, yes, this is painful, but I will face it, something changes inside you. That very moment of acceptance becomes the foundation for growth. The reality is, life will never promise you a path without obstacles. But if you recognize pain as part of the road, you stop fighting against it and instead you start walking through it. So the next time pain enters your life, pause for a moment. Do not push it away. Do not bury it. Acknowledge it. Because when you recognize the reality of pain, you begin to unlock the possibility of turning that pain into strength, and that strength into purpose. Because every pain has a purpose. Pain has a way of speaking to us in silence. It does not always shout. It does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it whispers in the quiet hours of the night when no one else can hear. Sometimes it sits in your chest, heavy, unexplainable, and you cannot find the right words to describe it. But make no mistake, pain is a teacher. And often the greatest lessons of life are not written in books, not taught in classrooms, not even passed down in lectures, but carved into our hearts through the experiences of suffering. Think back to a time when you went through something difficult. Maybe it was heartbreak. Maybe it was failure. Maybe it was losing an opportunity you thought was meant for you. In that moment, you might have thought your world was falling apart. You might have thought you would never recover. But if you look closely now, that same pain shaped you. It taught you resilience. It taught you patience. It taught you who your real friends were. It taught you that you could endure more than you ever imagined. The truth is, success rarely teaches us. Comfort rarely pushes us. Ease rarely stretches us. When life is smooth, we enjoy it, yes, but we do not grow from it. It is the storms that expand us. It is the failures that refine us. It is the heartbreaks that remind us of the depth of our own hearts. Pain teaches us lessons that comfort cannot, and if we are willing to listen, those lessons become the foundation of wisdom. Some of the strongest people you will ever meet are not strong because life was kind to them. They are strong because life tested them. They did not learn courage by reading about it. They learned it by standing up after falling down again and again. They did not learn patience in a single moment. They learned it by waiting through the darkest nights until the light finally came. Pain was their teacher and they listened. And that is why they walk with the strength others cannot explain. Pain teaches us humility too. It reminds us that we are human, that we are not invincible, that we need help, that we need each other. It strips away pride and makes us realize the value of empathy. When you suffer, you begin to see suffering in others. You start to recognize the silent battles that people hide behind their smiles. And because of that, you grow in compassion. Pain teaches you to be kind, because you know how it feels when kindness was the only thing you needed. But the thing about pain as a teacher is that the choice is always ours. We can either ignore the lesson and remain bitter, or we can pay attention and grow wiser. Pain can either harden your heart or expand it. It can either break you down or build you up. It all depends on how willing you are to listen. So the next time you go through something difficult, ask yourself, what is this teaching me? What lesson am I supposed to carry from this? Because if you truly listen, pain will guide you, shape you, and strengthen you in ways nothing else can. Because every pain has a purpose. One of the most powerful realizations we can ever make is that pain is not random. It may feel sudden. It may feel cruel. It may feel meaningless while we are going through it, but behind every struggle there is always something hidden, something waiting for us to uncover. Pain carries purpose, though most of the time that purpose does not reveal itself immediately. It takes perspective, it takes patience, and it takes faith to see that the very thing that hurt us is the same thing that is preparing us for what lies ahead. Think about the moments in your life where you felt broken. At the time, you probably thought it was the end. Maybe you lost something you thought you could never live without, or a door closed that you believed was your only path forward. But later, with time, you began to see that it was not the end at all, it was a turning point. The job you did not get, the relationship that did not last, the opportunity that slipped away. All of it was clearing the space for something better. That is how hidden purpose works. You cannot see it when you are in the middle of the storm, but when the clouds finally part, you realize the storm had to come in order to shift you to a better place. Many of us confuse pain with punishment. We think we are suffering because life is against us. But what if the opposite is true? What if your pain is life's way of preparing you, molding you, sharpening you for the very future you have been praying for? What if every tear is watering the soil of your destiny? What if every disappointment is setting the stage for a greater opportunity? Pain is not always there to stop you. It is often there to shape you. The hidden purpose behind struggles is often about growth. You cannot develop strength without resistance. You cannot learn patience without waiting. You cannot discover resilience without setbacks. Each painful moment carries a message. You are being prepared, and when you start looking at your struggles through that lens, you stop asking, "Why me?" And you start asking, "What is this preparing me for?" That simple shift in perspective changes everything. Even in the smallest struggles, there is purpose. When you are dealing with failure, it might be teaching you humility. When you are dealing with loss, it might be teaching you gratitude for what you still have. When you're dealing with loneliness, it might be teaching you how to build strength within yourself. None of it is wasted. Life wastes nothing. Every single piece of pain you endure is working for you, not against you. And sometimes the purpose is not just for you. It is for others. Your pain may equip you to help someone else. Your scars may become someone else's survival guide. That heartbreak you endured may give hope to a friend who feels broken. That failure you faced may inspire someone who thinks they cannot get back up. Purpose is not always personal. Sometimes it is universal. Sometimes your pain is meant to heal not just you, but the people around you. So when you are in the middle of a struggle, remind yourself, there is something hidden here. There is meaning buried in this moment. Even if you cannot see it right now, even if it does not make sense today, trust that one day it will. One day, the very pain that made you question everything will be the same pain that explains everything. Because every pain has a purpose. Pain by its very nature forces us to confront ourselves. When everything is easy, when the road is smooth, we rarely stop to question who we are or what we are capable of. But when struggle enters, when hardship knocks us down, it strips away our illusions and challenges us to rise. That is why pain has the power to turn into growth and strength. It does not give us a choice but to evolve. It pushes us to dig deeper, to find parts of ourselves we did not even know existed. Think about it. If life never tested you, you would never discover your resilience. If nothing ever broke you, you would never realize you could heal. If you never failed, you would never know the power of getting back up. Pain is uncomfortable, yes, but it is also transformative. Every difficulty we face becomes an invitation to grow stronger, wiser, and more determined. And sometimes the most painful experiences are the very ones that reveal our greatest strengths. When you face a challenge, you have two options: to let it define you or to let it refine you. Many people get stuck in their pain, They replay it over and over. They let it consume their identity, and they begin to believe that struggle is all they are. But others take that same pain and use it as fuel. They turn heartbreak into motivation, rejection into redirection, failure into determination. They channel their suffering into something greater, and that is how pain becomes power. There is something beautiful about realizing that your pain can be your turning point, that the thing you thought would destroy you actually became the reason you became unstoppable. Some of the world's greatest leaders, thinkers, and achievers did not rise despite their pain. They rose because of it. Their struggles became the foundation of their strength. Their scars became the proof of their survival. And it is the same for you. Your story of pain can become the story of your strength if you allow it. Growth, however, does not come automatically. It comes from choice. It comes from deciding that you will not waste your suffering. You will not let your pain be meaningless. Instead, you will use it as a stepping stone. Every setback you face can either push you down or push you forward, and that decision lies within you. The weight you are carrying can either crush you or build your muscles. It depends on how you choose to lift it. And when growth happens, strength follows. You begin to realize that you are capable of more than you thought. You become less afraid of future challenges because you know what you have already overcome. You stop doubting your ability to endure, because pain has already proven to you that you can. Strength is not the absence of weakness, it is the wisdom that comes from surviving your weakest moments. So if you are in the middle of pain right now, remember this: it is not the end. It is the process. It is the refining fire that is shaping you into who you are meant to be. It may hurt now, but one day you will look back and realize that this pain was the reason you grew into the strongest version of yourself. Because every pain has a purpose. One of the most overlooked gifts of pain is the way it softens our hearts. When you go through something difficult, when you truly suffer, you begin to see life differently. You notice things you ignored before. You become aware of struggles you once overlooked, and you start to feel a deeper connection to the people around you. Pain has a way of stripping away arrogance and pride, and in its place, it plants seeds of empathy and compassion. It teaches us how to understand others, not with judgment, but with humanity. Think about it. When you have never experienced heartbreak, it is easy to dismiss someone else's tears as weakness. But once your own heart has been shattered, you begin to recognize that silent pain in someone else's eyes. When you have never lost something valuable, you might not fully understand grief. But once you face loss, you start to feel the weight of others' goodbyes. Pain makes you more human. It connects you to the invisible threads of struggle that every single person is carrying. Compassion is born out of the realization that you are not the only one who hurts. When you suffer, you suddenly see the world through softer eyes. You look at the person next to you and wonder what silent battle they might be fighting. You realize that behind every smile could be a story of pain. Behind every confident face could be a history of struggles. And because you have been there, because you know what it feels like, you treat them differently. You treat them with kindness. Some of the kindest people in this world are the ones who have suffered the most. They know what it means to be ignored, so they make sure others feel seen. They know what it means to be judged, so they practice acceptance. They know what it means to feel broken, so they extend love to those who feel the same. Their pain did not harden them, it softened them. It gave them a heart that beats not just for themselves, but for others too. And that is the real strength of empathy. Pain teaches us that we are all connected. It reminds us that none of us are exempt from struggle, and that simple truth makes us more patient with one another. You may not be able to solve someone else's problems, but you can make their load feel lighter with your compassion. A kind word, a listening ear, a small gesture of love. It all comes from the well of empathy that pain has filled within you. The beauty of this transformation is that your pain does not just serve you, it serves others. It becomes a bridge between you and the people around you. It becomes the reason someone feels understood, the reason someone feels less alone, the reason someone finds hope again. And in giving that to others, you heal yourself too. Pain teaches us that healing is not only personal, it is communal. When we share compassion, we share strength. So when you look back at your struggles, do not only see them as scars, see them as the reason your heart beats more gently, more kindly, more humanly. Your pain did not just change you, it gave you the ability to change the way you treat the world, because every pain has a purpose. When we go through pain, our natural reaction is often resistance. We fight it, we question it, we try to push it away. We tell ourselves that life is unfair, that we should not have to carry this burden, that maybe things were never meant to be this hard. But the truth is, pain is not separate from life, it is part of it. And one of the greatest shifts we can make is when we begin to embrace pain, not as an enemy, but as part of our destiny. When you accept that struggle is written into the story of every human being, you stop wasting energy fighting against it and start learning how to walk through it. Acceptance does not mean that pain stops hurting. It does not mean you suddenly love the suffering you go through. What it means is that you stop denying it. You stop pretending that you are cursed or singled out. Instead, you recognize that pain is a universal thread, woven into the fabric of every destiny. And when you embrace it, you discover a strange kind of strength, the strength that comes from knowing, this too is shaping me. This too is part of my journey. When you see pain as destiny, you begin to realize that nothing in your life is wasted. Every trial has meaning. Every heartbreak has purpose. Every setback is preparing you for something greater. What seemed like a detour was part of the path all along. That acceptance creates peace, even in the middle of the storm, because you trust that your story is not over. You trust that your pain is not the final chapter. There is also freedom in this mindset. When you embrace pain as destiny, you stop comparing your life to others. You stop wishing that your journey looked like theirs, because you understand that every person is carrying a different cross, a different story, a different test. Their road is not yours, and your road is not theirs. What you carry is tailored for you, for your growth, your lessons, your future. And because of that, you no longer see pain as punishment, but as preparation. Embracing pain as destiny also transforms how you see yourself. Instead of labeling yourself as a victim, you begin to see yourself as a survivor, even as a warrior. You acknowledge that life has been hard, but you are still here. You have endured storms you thought would drown you, and yet you are still standing. And when you carry that realization, you become unshakable. Pain no longer has the power to break you. It becomes the very proof of your resilience. Sometimes it is in embracing pain that we also discover faith. Faith that life has meaning beyond what we can see. Faith that what hurts today may heal tomorrow. Faith that our destiny is written not to destroy us, but to make us into the people we were meant to become. Pain, when embraced, turns into a reminder that even in suffering, we are not lost. We are being guided. So if you find yourself in the middle of a painful chapter, breathe and remind yourself, this is not the end. This is part of your story. One day you will look back and realize that the very pain you once wished away was the same pain that built your strength, deepened your wisdom, and prepared you for everything that came next. Because every pain has a purpose, you said. So when pain arrives, don't run from it. Embrace it. For hidden within it is the very strength that will carry you toward your destiny.